How do moth priests swim with the butterfly stroke? What's going on, YouTube? The Tamriel event starts January 23rd and brings with us a bunch of rewards, but we actually have a difference in what we were expecting. So oftentimes we get data mined and some information from PTS testing for events, and there's actually one big change. So previously, it appeared as though that the boxes were going to give additional zone gear or gear from where you had received them. That's actually not true. What they instead did is that where you're farming, you actually have a different chance to get specific style pages and other types of rewards. So we're going to break down this reward shift because this does open up some new farms and things, and it also acts as a correction where initially it was listed online that you would be able to get additional gear drops. It unfortunately is not the case, at least at this moment in time, for what it appears. Every other time they've done reward boxes specific to where you've gotten them from, there's been gear as a possibility, but unfortunately it looks like it's not in it this time. But we'll wait and see, hold out hope. Let's focus on the actual reward drops and see what we can get. And this event starts January 23rd and runs through February 4th. Just to give you the basic rundown is that there's curated fishing drops, treasure maps have a higher chance to drop in, particularly leads, furnishing, specialty items. All bosses in all zones drop event coffers, including the Replicanium inside of the Infinite Archive, and that includes incursion bosses like dragons. You can get tickets, literally 3 tickets just by killing anything: Dell bosses, public dungeon, final bosses, trial bosses, world bosses, incursion events, etc. And if you do that, you get your glorious reward box of each day. The glorious reward box has the highest chance to get the new Lion Guard Captain outfit style pages, which are going to be selling very well because it's a very good looking one. You can get motifs and their style materials from anywhere throughout ESO. Now that is actually going to be something that's very good because there's some motif pages that are absolutely fantastic. They also note here, note that we previously mentioned that the item sets would drop from the reward boxes, which does not seem to be the case based on the ESO event article. Sorry for the confusion. A-okay, sometimes it's the difficulties when you're getting information through data mines and different pools, so a way we can get information about events a little bit before they start so we can get ready, because also this event has treasure map farming, which has been very good for people who knew ahead of time, hey, go out and get all these treasure maps off the market. But you can also find furnishing recipes of any quality in any zone, companion gear to make sure you have the companions unlocked on that character, basic and rare crafting materials, transmute geodes, treasure maps, and treasure map survey. So all really good rewards. The biggest things are going to be the motif pages, but here's where it gets loosey-goosey. So purple boxes have a chance to contain a random reward from previous year's celebration, depending where you acquired the box in. Otherwise, it has the same loot pools as the generic ones with a lower chance for the rarest reward. So what that means is that when you have these purple boxes and you get them in the zones that they are acquired from, you have a chance to get these items here. You might think, okay, Jake, well, what do I need to know about those items? And that's where we're going to break down which of these are expensive, essentially. And so the first option we have is Necrom. That gives us access to the Apocrypha Expedition outfit style pages. And you can see they're kind of, they're fine. If you wanted to try to make a little bit of money on these, 15,000, 20,000, 6,000, 10,000, 15,000, you're generally going to find yourself, jacks, sometimes helmets, depending on if it's cool helmet, legs. Bigger body pieces generally do better. You could see here that the arm, shoulders don't do nearly as well. That's going to be a pretty consistent theme throughout this video. Next up is from High Isle, and we have access to the previous year's Oaken Order. And you can see these are worth even less. Now, Oaken Order, I actually think, is a decent style page, and we'll actually go through and look at all of them at the end here together, just so you can get an idea as we break down the prices. The problem is that this one was very easy to farm and a lot of people farmed it, so it's very cheap on the open market. And if you decide to farm Blackwood, you have access to get 2 the Euphrates Fallen Wood and the Voroplasm's Pet Fragments, which notably does have better resale value than the previous Oaken Order ones. This is definitely a bit more of a popular style. You can see, though, that there is still a lot of supply, though, of this item, and the supply is only going to go up during this event. So keep this in mind, that while people are unloading these items with the expectation of knowing the event is right around the corner, they're also listing them with the knowledge that the supply is also about to increase drastically. So the market could very well become flooded with these. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well. Raymore, though, we have some thick, juicy outfit style page opportunities, because you can see that these ones were starting to get a little bit more bang for our buck. You can see, though, that generally, unfortunately, like things like gloves are usually listed significantly less. But overall, we're starting to get more to the point where the juice is worth the squeeze. And this is definitely a zone that might be worth farming. But this isn't the only set that drops from here, because also in Graymore, you have these Sovngarde Stalwarts Guards. Now, you can see these also retained a good chunk of value throughout the time period. And notably, its chest is the most valuable piece here, but I'm not seeing any current listings on this page of it. So you might have to look a little bit more specifically. There we go. 199,000 gold for the Jack. So this one even has some more chase items with it versus its counterparts, which unfortunately, because they're so recent, didn't really have a whole lot of value at all for us. Next up, we have Elsewhere with 2 more banger outfit style pages that we can get. And you can see here, there's some decent value in these items as well, with some high ticket value for a lot of these. Now, I always link the resources that I use in the description below, so I just want to note that if you're ever curious, you can click on any of these specifically, and you can see the suggested price range, the minimum, the average, the max, and you can also see the sales history, which I think is vastly important for us when it comes to gauging listings, when it comes to gauging value, because you can see here, the value of these items has gone all over the place. You can see that awkwardly, there's been a pretty decently consistent supply and a decently consistent amount of sales too that went along with the actual listing. So very fun resource to use. Please use it in the description below if you're ever curious on how to price check any of these items, because these are just the style pages. You could get any motif that pretty much comes in the game. So definitely use these resources during the ESO event when it starts, or just anytime you need to price check anything. Unfortunately, though, the secondary set that comes from Elsewhere is not worth as much. You can see, though, that some of the bigger items like the Jack do retain some decent value, 25k listing value. Over time, it still has retained a little bit of value, but the other Elsewhere drop potential is not as good as its predecessor. Next up, you have access to Somerset. Now, Somerset is very special because we've not been there in a long time. And how's that going to translate to the value of those items? The short answer is there's a lot of value in these items here. Now, it's important to note a lot of things as we talk about these. The first biggest thing that I want to mention is that a lot of these have not been available to be farmed for a while. So the only way you've been able to attain these items is by buying them from other people. And when the event starts, a lot of these are going to lose value because the supply is going to greatly increase because people are going to farm here. But you might think to yourself, well, Jake, why are people going to farm this specific one? There's been other ones that are worth, you know, tens of thousands of gold with really good chase items with big listing values. Well, the biggest problem that Somerset has is that there's other reasons that people are going to want to farm Somerset. For example, you can get the replica staff by doing the geysers. So people are going to be here already farming geysers. So people are probably going to be getting tons of boxes that are specific to Somerset, meaning that they're also going to be able to get these. And these have a lot of value. So it's not only doubly good to potentially get these items. That doesn't mean, though, that they're going to lose all value, because these have been very rare to get and will likely return to being very rare to get. So people are still going to snap these up if their value gets too low. And they're still probably going to maintain, you know, tens of thousands of gold in value, making this one of the best ones, if not one of the best farms to do in the game when the event starts on January 23rd. But that's not the only style available that you're going to be able to get in Somerset that's worth a good chunk of money. You also have the Snowhawk style, which is going to be pretty good. And if we look at the jerkin down here alone, this thing has an average sale value right now of 1 million gold. And even the listings right now of 825,000. Considering everybody knows you're going to be able to farm this next week, this is a pretty crazy value for something to still retain. And that's just for the simple fact that there's just not that many of these listed. You can see we only have 23 listings right now on PC, meaning this is still a very rare item, and people are going to be sucking this off the market as soon as they're able to. So if you get these, definitely sell these. And we round up with the Doctrine Ordinator, Slagtown Diver skin, Thetitis, Rebate, Memento, and the microtized Venomous Fabricant pet components. Now, the pets, the mementos, not really a lot of value. Let's start and focus on the Doctrine Ordinator. And you can see these ones also have some decent value in their current listings, but these are not nearly as good. These have been available during some other events and definitely have some lower end ranges that people are trying to offload before the event starts. I think overall the Doctrine Ordinator set is decent to get, because I also don't think a ton of people are going to be farming in Morrowind, especially compared to Somerset. And there's definitely some chase items, but I just don't think it stacks up to Somerset when it comes to value for the style pages there. But you're also able to get a cool skin here. Now, if you wonder what the skin looks like, we'll show it later, but I could pretty much describe it to you perfectly. It looks like you've been dunked in motor oil, pretty much. Dark motor oil is how this skin looks. And you'll be able to also get this from the Morrowind zone. So if you're interested, you can also farm this piece here as well. But also, if you feel priced out of any of those items, you're able to actually go talk to Phileas, which is that guy that stands next to the Impresario. You can see that they're also going to sell pretty much all those items that we had covered as well, meaning that you're going to be able to get them for event tickets, which should help keep them from becoming too overpriced. Now, some FAQs that I did not see the specific answer to that I have been wondering is that, okay, so we can get these items from these zones, but does elsewhere include northern and southern elsewhere? I'm assuming that it does. Does High Isles Oaken Order also include if you wanted to farm in Galen? It's not necessarily a huge point, but I just wanted to note that it's not really directly stated in either ESO Hub or the actual ESO page itself if Blackwood also includes Fargrave. So just keep that in mind as you're picking your farm. It may, and I will also do an announcement once we have the specific details, and I assume that it would, but we don't know for certain at this time. And just for some funsies, let's go through and actually look at these style pages here. You don't really get the greatest to look at them because they're all individually going, but you could see definitely why, like, the helmet of the Apocrypha Expedition one is worth more than its brethren. Oaken Order, I thought Oaken Order looked really good. I really do love the Oaken Order helmet, if I'm being honest. And obviously too, this will be a resource that's in the description below. So if you're curious, you can stop by on here, look at any of the specific item pieces, and then kind of get an idea. But you'll also be able to preview them once the actual event starts as well. Which will be good for people, especially if you want to buy these with event tickets, because some of these are definitely going to be worth a ton of money even during the event, because there's going to be ones that people just don't go and do a whole lot. I'm thinking especially the ones like Solitude. I don't see a lot of people going, and going over to that zone. So I could definitely see like the Sovereign Guard style retaining a lot of value. And just to look at it again quickly, this one retained a ton of value. This chess piece used to be worth 1 to 2 million gold. It's definitely seen a drop in value, but it looks really good. Even same with that helmet. It's a pretty stylized helmet. So, I could see why some people were like, it's not for me. But I mean, look at some of the helmets on this bad boy. I mean, you could definitely see there's some great value and design in a lot of these sets, which is why they retained quite a bit of value even over this long period that they've not been able to be farmed. People are still thinking about them, buying and selling them, and going, I'm going to go out and get that one. And you can see here, hopefully this was a very accurate description. It's like you've been dunked in motor oil. I think that's a pretty accurate description of how this actually looks. And just to answer some FAQs that I think are going to pop up in the comments below, these are not motif pages. These are style pages. The motif pages will just drop naturally from anywhere as you get reward boxes. So you could be killing dragons in southern elsewhere, and you could get style pages from Graven Deep, for example. The motif pages and their style materials are not bound to the boxes in which they come from, which is great because you could be getting some that are worth millions of gold as well. So please make sure you're price checking them. It's very hard for me to just tell you which ones generally are worth more, but if you look at it and it's very good, and it's like a chess piece, A helmet, legs, those are usually the 3 pieces that do well, but some good shoulders, like a really good looking shoulder, can also be worth a ton of gold. Belts, I mean, unfortunately, belts are probably the least valuable. Boots, generally, and hands are also on the, the downside. I think boots are probably the second least valuable. Generally, the higher number it is, generally, the more recent it is, it might be harder to get. Much less people probably have it. Those are usually, decent values to get as well. So overall, those are what I would do for the actual motif pages. Box farming, we've talked about all this stuff, how to get all the box farming. So please check out the previous videos we've done on this event. But thank you guys so much again. We're sitting here in Greyhost, defending the Elder Scroll very briefly, because for a while we started to record. Unfortunately, our gates were open. Those gates have now thankfully closed, so I could jump back into the PvP fighting. So thank you guys so much again for watching. As always, we're doing our 3 giveaway drawings. All you have to do to enter is leave a comments below. Just tell me anything at all. Second thing is just make sure you subscribe/follow on Twitch and Twitter. And the third thing is look for a hidden word be flashed upon the screen. We've already flashed 1 hidden word this month, but always stay tuned in case there is a second. Thank you guys so much again for watching. This also is next week's going to be a ton of live streams. There's going to be drops enabled. It's going to be the special Twitch drop event through ESO as well as Twitch. So we'll see exactly what rewards are available. Hopefully there's some good ones, and I'll catch you there. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.